And our future Attorney General, who has done a great job, Mark Herring's also in the House with us. So folks, you give me a Democratic House with this team, let me promise you this state will take off like a booster rocket, let me tell you. And first of all, thank all of you for being here today. What a beautiful evening here in Arlington, Virginia, to be here with the 46th President of the United States of America, Joe Biden. Virginia, we have only 1 week left in this campaign. And I got to be honest with you, there could be nothing more at stake. And sometimes you have to slow down and take a step to realize what really is at stake. And yesterday was one of those days. Yesterday, Glenn Youngkin released his closing argument of this campaign. In it, he promotes an effort to ban books by Toni Morrison from Virginia schools. One of America's most famous authors, the winner of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the winner of the Nobel Prize. This is his closing message. Glenn Youngkin is promoting banning books by one of America's most prominent black authors. Just the fact that he's even discussing this brings shame here to the Commonwealth of Virginia. He is ending his campaign the way he started it, with divisive dog whistles. Even after the deadly attacks on January 6th, Glenn Youngkin launched his campaign by promoting election conspiracy theories. And for 8 months, it was the only issue he had on his website. He encouraged speculation that Donald Trump could be reinstated to office. His campaign surrogates include conspiracy theorists who promote violence and lies about the 2020 election. And let me be clear, Joe Biden won the 2020 election fair and square. But folks, he campaigns on radio shows with supporters of neo-Nazi groups. So Virginia, we have a choice. A path that promotes conspiracies, hate, and division, or a path focused on lifting up every single Virginian. I have 20 comprehensive plans, 166 pages in all, to tell you how exactly I'm going to do it, how I will lift up every Virginian. There is a real difference in this race. I am a uniter, Glenn Youngkin is a divider. I promise all of you we will create good jobs in every corner of the Commonwealth. I promise you we will raise the minimum wage to $15 by 2024. I promise you we will make child care more affordable for every Virginia family. And I promise you I will get every Virginian paid sick and family medical leave here in Virginia. We're going to fight the high cost of prescription drugs, we'll lower premiums, and I promise you we will make sure that affordable health care is within reach of every single Virginian. And as I said on day one of my campaign, I'm going to make sure that every single child in Virginia receives a world-class education. Folks, I know we can do it because we did it before. When I took office in 2014, Virginia's economy was in crisis. So I rolled up my sleeves, I got to work, making life better for all Virginians. By working in a bipartisan way, I'm proud we created 200,000 good-paying jobs, personal income went up 14%, and we reduced unemployment in every single city and county here in Virginia. We leaned in on clean energy to tackle climate change and create good-paying jobs. And Glenn Youngkin, the other day, he denied that humans contribute to climate change. And he just said he would have blocked Virginia's Clean Economy Act. Are you kidding me? Folks, we made a record investment in education, infrastructure, and transportation. That's why we are consistently ranked the best state in America for business. And I always tried to find common ground. As you know, I will work with anyone at any time, including reasonable Republicans. But make no mistake, Glenn Youngkin is not a reasonable Republican. And it's not just banning books and election conspiracy theories. It's issues like education. Glenn Youngkin wants to follow Donald Trump and Betsy DeVos's plan and take money from public schools and send it to private schools. Independent reports have said that his plan would cut 43,000 teachers from our schools here in Virginia. And what bothers me daily is that Glenn Youngkin uses education to divide Virginia. He wants to pit parents against parents, parents against teachers. He wants to bring his personal culture wars into our classrooms. Folks, we will not allow Glenn Youngkin to bring his hate and his chaos into our Virginia schools. And we will never let our children be used as political pawns. Instead, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to raise teacher pay above the national average for the first time in Virginia history. I promise you within 2 years I'll get every single student online. And I will expand pre-K to tens of thousands of children in need here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Glenn Youngkin has done nothing but run down our teachers since this campaign started. So let me say this to all the teachers here in Virginia. We love you, we appreciate you, and you are the true heroes of this COVID crisis. On COVID, Glenn Youngkin has already brought Donald Trump's anti-science agenda to Virginia. And think of it, he's not even elected. Youngkin has said, on day one, all masks are off and no vaccine requirements for our teachers. Folks, this is deadly. Here in Virginia, 1,142 of our children have been in ICU beds in our hospitals. Last week, 2 11-year-olds died from COVID. We cannot let Glenn Youngkin be in charge of our children's education or their health. And on abortion, one thing is crystal clear. Glenn Youngkin has stated over and over that he will outlaw abortion in Virginia. And let me say this, Donald Trump's Supreme Court will now let him do it. This isn't a hypothetical anymore. Women and doctors could face jail time. Women will die from unsafe, illegal abortions here in Virginia. Let me be clear. I trust women to make their own decisions as I did before. And I will always be a brick wall to protect women's rights against politicians like Donald Trump and Glenn Youngkin who want to make abortion illegal. So folks, we have 1 week to go. We've all got a lot of work together to bring this one home. Our campaign so far has already knocked on 1.5 million doors. Thank all of you. Last weekend, we knocked on over 150,000 doors last weekend, so thank you. But make no mistake, I still need your help. I need you to get out. I need you to vote early. I saw Senator Kaine, folks had not voted early. I need you to join the 750,000 Virginians who have already cast their ballot. I need you to have your voices heard early. Make sure you go out and vote, and you vote early. And folks, if you got an absentee ballot at home, send it in. Don't wait. You cannot take voting for granted. Because as you know, there are people out there who want to limit the right to vote. It was only a few years ago that I overturned a 102-year-old racist Jim Crow era law that prevented those who had served their time from voting. Restoring voting rights to more people than any governor in American history was the high point of my governorship. But I'll be honest with you, not every day is like that. The darkest day of my governorship was when neo-Nazis and white supremacists marched on Charlottesville. They marched with the most vile, racist, anti-Semite intent that I had ever experienced in my life. You could see the hatred in their faces. You could hear the hatred in their words. You could smell the hatred from their torches. After that horrific violence that we saw that day, as you know, I went before the cameras and I said what was obvious. White supremacy and neo-Nazism have no place here in Virginia. I said they were cowards, they were not patriots. The people who marched on Charlottesville represent a very dark part of America. A group of people who believe in white supremacy, believe in hate, believe in violence, and some politicians encouraged it. We all remember that Donald Trump said they were very fine people. And after all of that, Glenn Youngkin said that Donald Trump represents so much of why he is running for governor. Let me be clear, folks. I'm running for governor for you. But after that tragic day in Charlottesville, for others, it was a moment to stand up for what is good in America and to reject hate. For Joe Biden, Charlottesville became the moment he knew we were in a battle for the soul of our nation. And he decided to return to public office. And after 4 years of chaos and hatred under Trump, we needed someone with empathy and good character in the White House. That's Joe Biden. I have known President Biden for 40 years, and I know a few things about him. He's decent, even to those he disagrees with. He's optimistic about building a stronger future for all of our children. He's passionate about taking on huge global challenges like climate change. And he cares so deeply about this country and making it a place where there is an opportunity for all. Virginia, please join me in welcoming the 46th President of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband. It's great to be with you all. I really mean that. First of all, it goes without saying how much I appreciate your current governor, Ralph Northam. Where's Ralph? There you are, pal. Thank you. Well, that's all right. Let him go. Let him go. That's okay. That's all right. Why don't you hang out and talk to me after this is over, okay? Well, thank you. Look. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's right. This is not a Trump rally. We let him holler. We let him holler. I also like to thank members of the congressional delegation that are here. Don Beyer, I think Don's here. Lena Loria. Bobby Scott, Abigail Spanberger, they're all over there, and Senator Tim Kaine and Jennifer Wexton. Folks, they've been critical in our efforts to make historic investments in our nation and our people. And of course, it's great to be here with Dorothy and Terry McAuliffe. Folks, it's time. It's time. 1 week to make those phone calls and knock on more doors. 1 week to get out the vote. And 1 more week to elect Terry McAuliffe, your governor of the state of Virginia. You all know the stakes. And here are a few things I want you to remember. First, you don't have to wonder what kind of governor Terry will be, because you know what a great governor he was. Wasn't just because of what he promised, it's what he delivered. On his watch, Virginia's economy boomed. 200,000 jobs created. He made a record addition of $1 billion investment in education, expanding preschool and resources for public schools in lower-income communities, and gave teachers a raise. Now, I must say parenthetically, the real reason I'm here tonight is my wife, Jill, teaches full-time at Northern Virginia Community College. And Terry's going to be her boss. Look, Terry stood by our veterans, helping them apply their skills in good-paying civilian jobs in fields like cybersecurity and healthcare, funding for new veteran care centers, including the first one in Hamptons Roads region. Look, he took on the gun lobby and enacted sensible gun safety measures without infringing on the Second Amendment, including helping keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers. Virginia, you know Terry. You know his record. He was a great governor. If you re-elect him again, he'll be another 4 years as a great governor. But look, how well do you know Terry's opponent? Well, just remember this. I ran against Donald Trump. And Terry is running against an acolyte of Donald Trump. Terry's opponent doesn't like to talk about how, very much now, but to win the Republican nomination, he embraced Donald Trump. He started his campaign by saying that the #1 issue in the race was his call, he called for election integrity. Now this guy said he's calling for election integrity. Now, why did he do that? Because he wanted to hear Donald Trump? It was a price he'd have to pay for the nomination, and he paid it. But now he doesn't want to talk about Trump anymore. Well, I do. Talk about an oxymoron, Donald Trump and election integrity. I can't believe he puts the word Trump and integrity in the same sentence. Look, he's done a lot of lousy things. But when my friend, General Colin Powell, died, his integrity, a man of incredible integrity, they certainly go together with Colin Powell and integrity, a decorated American hero, which is why the attack just leveled by Trump against General Powell was so offensive. I'd say it's unbelievable, but it's not. Trump did the same thing about John McCain. That's who Donald Trump is. All coming from a guy who invented the big lie, drove a mob of insurrectionists to breach the Capitol on the 6th of January, and to this day, he incites people all around the country. He said the people who attended his rally and then stormed the Capitol, quote, they were peaceful people. They were great people. Well, God love you. I'm glad you're here. Virginia, you know better. You saw it with your own eyes. Many of you were there. Some of you risked your lives. The anger, the rage, American flags turned into spears, a noose, a gallows, police assaulted and killed, death threats against elected officials and public servants, carrying the most sacred act of a democracy, certifying a free election. the breach of the Capitol that didn't even happen during the Civil War. To Donald Trump, the insurrection isn't a violent assault that took place on January 6th at the Capitol. No. To Trump, the insurrection was the November 3rd election, when more Americans voted than had ever voted in all of our history. That's the big lie that Terry's opponent embraced. And it prompted the Washington Post to write something about Terry's opponent every Virginian should read before they vote. And I quote, "Glenn Youngkin has failed the character test. He has indulged and encouraged Republicans to have swallowed former President Trump's lie that last year's presidential elect was stolen. Mr. Youngkin chose to dignify a fundamental fiction that is subverting our system rather than standing squarely for the truth. In doing so, he proved himself unfit for office," end of quote. I've not seen many editorials written that strongly in my career. Heck, just look how he's closing his campaign. He's gone from banning a woman's right to choose to banning books written by a Pulitzer Prize and Nobel Prize winning author, Toni Morrison. My wife Jill went to Princeton to interview her, taught her book. Let's be clear. This is a guy who doesn't know much about anything. A woman's right to choose is very much at risk because of what's happening in Texas. If you want to protect a woman's right to choose in Virginia, you need a governor absolutely committed to protecting that right. And Terry has made it clear he'll be a brick wall against anyone trying to take that constitutional right away. But Terry's opponent not only embraces someone with such a lack of character, he endorses Donald Trump's bad ideas and bad record. Donald Trump is the only president since Herbert Hoover in the 30s to see more jobs lost than gained the 4 years he was in office. In just 9 months of our administration, we've created more jobs than any president has in the same period of time in American history. When Donald Trump left office, there were only about 2 million people fully vaccinated. In just 9 months, in our first year, over 190 million Americans are now fully vaccinated. Trump, I love this one. Trump likes to boast the single best measure of the economy is the stock market. I never thought that. Well, if that's true, take a look at the stock market now. It's higher than it's ever been. I guess everything's doing well. It is. Higher than it's ever been. Not only that, more people are working today than just before the pandemic started. Household wealth is up. People are buying more things. Manufacturing is up. We're on the move, but we're on the right track. We got more to do. So if you're looking for someone who's going to keep your economy going and growing, the man behind me is the guy to get it done. He'll do it again. In fact, we're taking a page from Terry's book when he was governor and when he'd be governor next time. We're emerging from this pandemic. We want to expand pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds, millions of pre-K students. That's what's in my Build Back Better initiative. Studies show that when you do this, you increase by 58% the chances of a child will complete the rest of their education in high school and beyond. And what better, we want better roads, bridges, and airports. Well, take the new bridge that we built next to the 117-year-old Long Bridge in Arlington. This will be a dedicated corridor to passenger rail and reduce traffic bottlenecks in freight rail. It'll be a game changer. Right now, 13% of Virginia households don't have the internet. As we said during this pandemic, no parent should have to park in a McDonald's parking lot to have access to their internet for remote learning. Think about that. Terry wants every single Virginian to have access to affordable high-speed internet, and I guarantee we're going to both do that. Right now, there are 10 million homes and 400,000 schools and child care centers in America that have lead pipes including in the water. Look, folks, in America, every American, every child should be able to turn on a faucet and drink water. Give that guy a drink of water, will you? Look, let me ask you this. Why is it that 20 years ago, a bottle of insulin for type 1 diabetes cost $32 a bottle, but today, the same exact formula, no change, costs $280 a bottle. Hear me? That's not only wrong, it's immoral. Terry wants to take the drug companies and I do bring down the cost of prescription drugs, and we can do that. There are nearly 2 million qualified women in America who are not working today because of child care. Here in Virginia, the average two-parent home spends $14,600 a year for just one child. We want to bring those costs down so working families will not have to pay more than 7% of their income to care for a child under the age of 5. We're going to raise the minimum wage that Terry's going to, we strongly support it, to $15 an hour. No one working full-time should live below the poverty line. And here's what else you ought to think about. Terry's opponent has made all of his private pledges of loyalty to Donald Trump, but what's really interesting to me, he won't stand next to Donald Trump now that the campaign's on. Think about it. He won't allow Donald Trump to campaign for him in this state. And he's willing to pledge his loyalty to Trump in private. Why not in public? What's he trying to hide? Is there a problem with Trump being here? Is he embarrassed? Look at who's been here for Terry. My wife Jill, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, Stacey Abrams, and so many more. Look, let me close with this. There's a fundamental difference between Democrats and Terry McAuliffe and what's going on in today's Republican Party and Terry's opponent. Number one, we stand for working people in the middle class. Trickle-down economics has never worked. We're both building an economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Today's Republican Party stands for nothing but just keep cutting taxes for the wealthy and the most powerful corporations. Second thing to remember, here's the deal. Virginia Democrats, you've made incredible progress in the state in recent years on jobs, the economy, health care, education, on attracting new business, growing the middle class, and so much more. For more than 40 years in Virginia, it has been the Democratic governors who have led. You've made this progress because you've had the courage and the wisdom to reject the very extremism that has taken over the Republican Party all across America. Think of it. The Republican Party nationally is for nothing. Not a joke. Nothing. Nothing. Just look around. Just look around what's happening with the governor of Texas and Florida. The assault on women's right to choose. The lives lost to this pandemic could have been saved. Virginia, for the sake of your families and the country, we can't let this happen here in Virginia. Extremism can come in many forms. It can come in the rage of a mob driven to assault the Capitol. It can come in a smile and a fleece vest. Either way, the big lie is still a big lie. So Virginia, show up. Show up like you did for Barack and me. Show up like you did for me and Kamala. And show up for a proven leader like Terry McAuliffe. Show up to protect the majority of the House of Delegates, to re-elect Mark Attorney General, elect Hall as Lieutenant Governor, Virginia. You can't take anything for granted, so vote. Vote early. Get 5 of your friends and family to vote. You can drop off your ballots in drop boxes. You can mail them in. Visit iwillvote.com to find out where and how to vote early. Show up for democracy, for Virginia, for the United States of America. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Vote, 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 vote.